PMQ Pizza Magazine traveled to Atlanta for the SOFO Foods Expo 2015. PMQ hosted the Wired Up, Fired Up online ordering conference.
Steve, Chris, everyone, thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's exciting to be here. I know that there's a lot of information. So here's the good news. For the next 3.5 hours, For the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'll be talking about helping you grow your business. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. I'm a marketing guy. And I want to talk about something called online ordering. But I'm only going to talk about it for a few seconds. Do you need online ordering? No. Do you want online ordering? Yes. And here's why. Statistics show that 18% increase in orders that are online versus in person or by phone. That adds up. That's a lot. That's 18% more. Also with online ordering, you know what it does? It frees people from the phones. What could that person do if he or she isn't manning the phones? And thirdly, it attracts millennials. Everyone's using their phone now to buy. You've got Android Pay, you've got Apple Pay. And if you don't accept that, then what happens? You're going to lose business. So online ordering is here. Do you need it? No. Do you want it? Absolutely. So you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get 18% more revenue. What do I do with that money? I'll tell you what you have to do. And this is the essence of what I'm going to talk about for the next 5 minutes. PCI compliance. 3 letters, PCI. You know what that stands for? Payment card industry. Yeah, well, who's that? MasterCard, Visa, Amex, Discover. And they've gotten together and they've made a set of standards. Now, these standards have been here for quite a while. They're up to 3.1 now, by the way. What do these standards do? These standards are there to protect businesses, all businesses that accept credit and debit cards. If you are not compliant with PCI, there are consequences. And the big guys know about this. You know, the franchises, the chains, the big stores. They don't want to be in the news in a bad way. Because you've heard of Target. Remember the breach? A lot of companies, T-Mobile. I just heard that Trump was hacked. So, and I think about this and I'm thinking, wow, that's big. But, you know, you're a small mom and pop. You maybe have 1 store, 2 stores. That's your livelihood. How can you protect your most important asset, which is your business? By being compliant. Now, there's been some talk what's called EMV. October 1st, it happened, the EMV revolution. What's EMV? And what does it have to do with PCI? Well, EMV is a part of PCI. Why don't you go in your wallet and pull out a credit card or debit card, and you'll see that your new cards have these little chips on them. Well, that's now the new standard. But your old payment processing units do not accept the chip. It needs a special unit that can read these EMV. EMV, by the way, stands for EuroPay, Visa, and MasterCard. Actually, MasterCard and then Visa, EMV. And they got together to try to protect from fraud, because fraud is rampant. Well, what if you say, I don't need to be EMV compliant, and someone comes into your store and you process the card, because the EMV card does have a strip on the back, and you process it the old way, and that card is fraudulent. You are now responsible. That's what the payment card industry, the payment processors are saying. No longer will they be responsible. There's a shift. You're responsible. That's right. You, the store owner, are now responsible for any fraud that's on an EMV card if you don't have an EMV reader. Well, gee, how do I protect myself? It's easy. You get a new payment processing unit that accepts EMV. Done. But that's only one part of the big picture for PCI. PCI requirements, there's 12 requirements, and if you break it down, there's about 300 steps. There's 1.1, 1.1a, 1.1aa, 1. It goes on forever. And vendors are thinking, gee, we sell POS systems and we're compliant on our end, because as a vendor of a POS, we must be compliant. It's called PCI PA, because we do payment applications. And as a payment application provider, we must be compliant with PCI PA. That's only half the story. Your PCI is compliant, which means your PCI won't be hacked. But what about your network? Your network meaning when someone hands you the card, when your card's in use, or when your card is at rest. Think about this. A card in use and a card at rest. What does that mean? The card in use is protected with EMV. The card at rest means all the credit card numbers, names, information that's stored on the payment processing side. That's the vulnerability to hacks. It's the at rest. So, what do? Okay, here's the deal. You must become PCI compliant. I didn't make it up. It's not PDQ POS saying, hey guys, it's a payment card industry. This affects everyone, retail, restaurant, any business that takes credit cards. Okay? So, to come full circle, you don't need online ordering, but you want it because you're going to get about 18% more revenue, and you're going to take that money and you're going to use it toward becoming PCI compliant. There's some hardware you have to buy, but the bottom line is you are safe, you'll be protected, no worries about fraud, breaches. You know what the cost of an average breach is with audit fees, bank fees, card reimbursement fees? The average breach cost the store owner $200,000. The average breach. Okay. Do you know how many owners of stores go out of business because of a breach? It's not just the money, the $200,000 and up in fines and fees. It's the loss of trust, right? You going to shop there? No. So it's not like we're saying, hey guys, PDQ is, saying I need to be compliant. The payment card industry is. We're telling you that at PDQ, Signature Systems, we have a solution. And here's the solution. We can provide security, EMV and PCI, regardless of who your POS provider is. You can stay with whoever you have. If you're happy and using it, it's great. We can get you compliant, because remember, the POS by nature has to be compliant as a payment PA, as the PCI PA. So you need to be compliant as a store owner. We could get you there. Of course, if you use our POS, it's all integrated with everything else in the online ordering, the rewards, the loyalty, the everything that everybody else does. Ooh. Anyway, thanks for the feedback. Okay. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. So I just want to say thank you for the gift of your time. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and educate you more about PCI, what it takes, how to get there. It's simple. We've simplified it. It's really, if you look in PMQ magazine right now, open up to October issue of PMQ, look on page 58, PCI in a box. It's real simple. We've simplified it. I'll wait until you get there. You there? Okay. Now, look at page 58. That's where we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. We want to get to some of these questions here. We're running a little out of time, so what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and read the question to Larry and then have Larry answer it. How about that? Thank you, Larry Field from PDQ. Larry, Michael Adkins from Houma, Louisiana is curious. Do I need your POS to get your PCI security solutions to be compliant? Your security solutions to be compliant?
Great question. He's from Louisiana. He's probably a LSU fan. No. While, of course, we would love for everyone to use our POS because it is the fastest on the planet, and it has all kinds of features that you'd expect a top-notch, best-rated POS to have, you do not need our POS to become PCI compliant.
Thank you for that. Jody Martin is curious. I'll wait just a second here. We might be all right. Gives me plenty of time to read over the question. Jody Martin wants to know, what's the difference between PCI compliance and EMV compliance?
Real simple. EMV is part of PCI. EMV is the part that is your chip on your payment card. You must have EMV compliant readers to process your payment transaction. You do that, you're EMV compliant, but that's only half the battle. However, you have to start somewhere. So I would say, number one, you must go and get yourself an EMV compliant reader to read the new chip PIN cards. Then PCI, and then you don't have to worry. All you have to do is sell more.
All right, thank you for that. Katie Lewis wants to know, my POS provider is telling me that they are PCI compliant. Why do I need to be?
That's a great question. And there is a misconception. People come up to me and say, Lar, POS is compliant. Yes, the POS is PCI PA compliant. You have to be PCI DSS compliant. And it's a whole different set of standards that you have to meet as the owner for your store that you do if you're the POS provider. So what I would do is, if you're thinking about a POS, ask your POS provider, or if you have one, say, you guys are compliant, right? And make sure they are. And then you need compliance on your end.
Chris Crevice wants to know, what does PDQ stand for? I was curious about that myself.
Wow. It could be a number of things. It could be pickup, delivery, and quick service. It could be pizza delivery quickly, but I think it really stands for pretty darn quick. And I'll tell you why. Because our POS is the fastest on the planet. And it needs to be fast on a Friday night when you're taking orders like crazy. So pretty darn quick. That's my final answer.
All right, almost out of time. We're going to take one more question. Tanner Phillips wants to know SAQ. What's an SAQ and who wants it?
Wow. Brilliant question, Tanner. SAQ. Okay, real quickly. Part of PCI compliance is annually, you as the store owner, you must fill out a questionnaire. It's a self-assessment questionnaire, SAQ. And for merchants, it's about 200 to 300 questions. It's like 80 pages. I have it on my desk and I still look at it and I'm like, oh my goodness. If you have our compliance package, it narrows it down to, I think it's like 3 pages and a half a dozen questions. It's basically yes, no, because PCI realizes that if you have our package, you must be compliant. So you can simplify that greatly. But if not, it's an annual thing. It's a few hundred questions, very technical in nature. If you don't fill it out, there are fines for not filling it out. So it's a big thing that we can talk about. But I suggest when you're PCI compliant, you get the short form, and the short form's a lot better than the long one.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Larry Field with PDQ. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Larry.